Need to start these 6 players if you want to win your fantasy matchup for week 3, and a couple of them might surprise you.
The first start that I have is Joshua Kelly. This game has a total of 54.5 points. Eckler hasn't practiced all week. He's expected to be out. Kelly did get the start last week. He got stuffed by a tough Titans D, but the Titans shut down every run game leading back to the start of last year. The Vikings did get torched by DeAndre Swift for a tune of 175 rushing yards on 28 carries. This game's going to be high scoring, so there's going to be plenty of scoring opportunities as both defenses have not been that great this year. With so many running backs dropping like flies, you might not have that many better options out there. I think this is going to be a big bounce back game for Josh Kelly. The next start that I have is going to be Michael Pittman. He caught 7 of 9 targets for 84 yards last week, and this was after Anthony Richardson was out with a concussion. So when Minshew took over, he leads the team in targets and catches. Richardson's probably going to be out again. Minshew's not a rushing threat. He's pretty much a better passer than Richardson at this point of their careers. Back in 2019, Minshew did support DJ Chark, and he finished as a wide receiver 16. Marlon Humphrey did miss practice today with a foot injury, so he's someone that would probably shadow Michael Pittman. So if he's out, that's even a bigger boost. And the Ravens have allowed the 6th most fantasy points to wide receivers so far.
Number 3, I got Raheem Mostert. Last week, Raheem Mostert had 18 carries for 121 yards and 2 touchdowns with an average of 6.72 yards per carry. He also had 2 touchdowns that game. Raheem Mostert is one of those players that you get scared of, that he's always going to get injured, but he always has that home run ability. Now, this week, he's going against Denver run defense. Last week, Brian Robinson against the same defense had 18 carries for 87 yards and 2 touchdowns. I expect Raheem Mostert to continue the trend and run through this Denver Broncos defense, because if you want to beat them, that's how you're going to do it on the ground.
At 4, I have Najee Harris. Now, this may seem a little bit surprising to most of you. Najee Harris has 10 fantasy points on the whole year so far over 2 weeks, 10 touches, but he's had a couple good runs passing 20 yards, and they've kind of been overshadowed by the fact that most of his plays have ended up with producing 2 yards or less. Now, it's not about how he's played, it's about who he's played. He's been playing against San Fran and Cleveland, 2 great run defenses that have, really shut down not just Najee Harris, but the entire Pittsburgh offense, which is not doing too well as a whole. They are missing some key receivers, and they've been struggling, but they're playing the Raiders this week, and I think Najee Harris is a real bounce back candidate. So if you have him, if you drafted him in your 2nd, 3rd round, I think you got to put him out there, even if you're tempted not to. One thing that really stands out when watching those games and taking a look at the stats is that he has been the back that is taking the red zone snaps. He's played on 5 out of 7 of them. They're one play inside of 10 yards. He was the back for that. So I like Najee Harris to have a big bounce back week. I'll send it over to Sean for his 5th and 6th starts. But before I do that, I do want to remind you guys and let you guys know that we are live on TikTok, Instagram, on YouTube. On Sunday, we do go live for a full Sunday football preview. If you do want to win your fantasy weeks on a weekly basis, check us out. Like and subscribe. And Sean, I'll send it off to you.
All right, number 5, I got Jordan Addison as my start. His snap share percentage, one stat that I really like to look at for rookies and up-and-coming players. He went up from 56% to 69% over KJ Osborne. He's against the Chargers defense this week, who, if you remember, in week 1 gave up 215 yards and 2 touchdowns to Tyreek Hill in week 1. They also have given up 17 plays this year, pass plays specifically, where the plays have been 15 yards or more. The next closest is a 4-way tie with 8. So it's a big difference. This defense is going to give up a lot of yards. I think Justin Jefferson will have a lot of eyes on him, and Jordan Addison is in line for his 3rd touchdown in 3 weeks. I love it. Book it. Number 6 is Kenneth Walker. He's against the Panthers defense. Bryce Young is probably going to be out. 3rd best matchup for the fantasy running back in the first 2 weeks is against that Panthers defense, and he's been dominating snaps over Zach Charbonnet, which was kind of the worry early on, so I got no issues there. Give me some Kenneth Walker this week as well. Be sure to like and follow and subscribe to us, because you'll be able to check out some of our sits of the week as well. These are the 6 players that you need to be sitting if you want to win your fantasy matchup for week 3.
I'll set it off right now for this first sit. I have Dameon Pierce. He's a really good running back, but he's played under 50% of the snaps in back-to-back weeks due to negative game script. Now he's going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's going to be another game where you could be in a negative game script. He scored a total of 10.2 fantasy points in 2 games combined. His O-line is banged up, so they're not helping him at all. He's averaging 0 yards per carry before contact. That's horrible. And he's not much of a pass catcher or even running many routes out of the backfield. So he's very game script dependent. And also the Jaguars have been pretty solid against the run this year. So he's a must sit for me this week. Another must sit is Rachaad White. He had a really great game last week against the Bears defense, which is everyone runs wild on the Bears defense. He had 18.8 fantasy points, but now he's facing that ferocious Eagles D-line, who have allowed a total of 84 rushing yards and 2.9 yards per carry to running backs this season. He's very volume dependent, and in game where they will be in a negative game script, I doubt he's going to see 17 carries. He is a good pass catcher, but so he may do some damage there, but he's still a very risky option. So I have him as a sit this week. And then off to you, Colin.
Number 3 sit of the week for me, Garrett Wilson. Only 43% of his balls were catchable last week. That ranks last amongst any wide receiver that had 5 or more targets. Zach Wilson had 170 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 interceptions. That's messed up. Garrett Wilson only had 2 receptions out of 8 targets for 83 yards and a touchdown. Now, he did salvage his day in fantasy, but you have to remember that 1 touchdown was on a 68-yard slant and go. He went all the way down. He got most of his fantasy points in that 1 catch. If he didn't have that catch, you definitely wouldn't be starting him. He's going against the New England defense this year that's been very stingy against the pass. They've only allowed 2 passing touchdowns all year, and they have faced an elite offense in the past as well. For me, I'm sitting Garrett Wilson until we figure out what the heck is going on the Jets. Make sure to follow us and like and subscribe at Game Day Goons TV. That's on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. We're live. We go live every Sunday to help you guys for your start and sit questions. So hit us up and let us help you win your fantasy leagues.
So my sit of the week is Justin Fields. And if you've seen the clips on Instagram or wherever you watch your highlights, you'll understand why. He's struggling right now. He's struggling to run. He's struggling to see his receivers, especially when they're wide open. It just really doesn't look good. Justin Fields will be going up against the Chiefs. Tough matchup. He's going to be playing from behind. And, looking at some of these numbers from, week 1 and 2, he got sacked a total of 10 times in these 2 games. He's had 3 interceptions. He has had 3 fumbles. He's a turnover machine right now. And, some of it's maybe his O-line's fault, but a lot of it is his fault. He tried rushing he had 4 rushing attempts last week for a total of 3 yards. So it's not like he's getting it done with his feet. I really don't think that he's startable until he figures things out and he shows, what Justin Fields is supposed to be, right? So yeah, I'd sit him, but look, if you drafted him, I'm holding him for now. Just pick up a streamer. We can cover those another time. But yeah, just hold on to him for now. See if you can figure things out. Let me pass it on back to Sean for sits 5 and 6.
At number 5, I'm going to be sitting DeAndre Swift this week. And y'all might look at me like I'm crazy because of how much of a nice week he had last week. But you got to remember, Kenneth Gainwell was out. He's likely to be back this week, so keep an eye on that. But he's going up against the stout Bucs defense. This defense has been top 10 against running backs in fantasy over the last 2 years. This is the defense that had held Fields to 3 yards on 4 attempts last week, and Khalil Herbert and Roshan didn't fare much better either. Fields salvaged his day with a rushing touchdown, sure, but again, that means that it's likely that Hurts is going to come in there and get a push in for a touchdown. So I'm going to be sitting DeAndre Swift this week. Number 6, I'm sitting James Conner. Just to start, I'm going to tell you that he's playing against Dallas. That's not a good matchup at all. You want to know why? They held Brees and Dalvin Cook to 16 combined rushing yards last week. Are you kidding me? 16? That's insane. Granted, the only hope that I think James Conner has is only in garbage time. In 2 weeks, the Dallas defense has not allowed over 100 yards over the first 2 weeks. That's insanity. And, they lost Trayvon Diggs. That sucks, but that's kind of more of a corner option or corner problem, safety issue. We're going to be good. I would say I'm sitting James Conner, and just if you're going to have to start him, you got to hope for the best that maybe some garbage time comes up. To end it off, I'll just let you know, be sure to like and subscribe at Game Day Goons TV on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and make sure to follow, like, and subscribe, and we'll be here.